everyone, welcome back to my channel. So thanks for being here. You're in for another read and react video. I am going to be reacting to Lord of the Rings Volume 2, The Two Towers. Obviously, I've already read it. That's what I said in the last video. As I was editing the last video, I was kind of noticing that I was cutting out a bit some of the parts that are different between the book and the film. A lot of it's small things, kind of like anytime we see Sauron's not even in the first book. Everything we know about him comes through exposition from Gandalf later. So that's the difference, and that's nice that it's in there. I like that those scenes are included into the film rather than just being exposition. They meet Strider. In the book it takes them like 5 pages to trust him, whereas in the movie they're like, yep, okay, sure. I mean, there's a little bit of questioning, but it's not as intense as it was in the book, because there was supposed to be a letter from Gandalf sent to Frodo through the barman at Bree, and then he forgot, and it was just... a lot of things were left out, and they were mostly minor changes. With Fellowship of the Ring, it's a pretty good adaptation between book to film. Now with The Two Towers, 40% of The Two Towers book is not in the film. It got moved to Return of the King, and that's okay, because when you get to The Two Towers in the book, obviously the Fellowship has broken up and they go on, they have 3 different... they're in 3 different groups. You have Merry and Pippin, Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas, and then you have Sam and Frodo. The book is split in half into 2 smaller books, and the first half is everything with Merry and Pippin, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, and Gandalf, and all of that is to one side, whereas the second half of the book is Frodo and Sam's journey. The thing about it is up until Faramir, that's where things change. You get to, like, I think you get halfway through the book halfway through the section of Frodo and Sam. That's the only part you get, because they wanted to expand and flesh out Helm's Deep, which is called for, but it's also a little long. But then again, Helm's Deep in the book's not long enough. There's no happy medium, but we're talking about Two Towers. There are some things in Two Towers that are just so great.
Sorry, I did not put that on Do Not Disturb.
Everybody makes fun of it, but you know what? I'll just point it out when we get there. So, Two Towers. Again, I am watching the extended editions, so let us kick it off. I must explain that even though 40% of the book is cut out of this film and moved to Return of the King, this one is my favorite. Obviously this part's in the book, but this is not. As amazing as it is not in the book, obviously. But I really do enjoy the fact that this is all a dream from Frodo's perspective, which is really nice, because it's kind of like Sauron is kind of speaking to him and telling him that, you know, Gandalf is dead, Gandalf's gone, he's never coming back. Frodo thinks he's a wizard. He doesn't know that he's some kind of angelical being, or at least I don't think he does. So yeah, I like the dream.
I like the Hobbit dreams.
I also like how it starts off with Frodo, because in the book, it doesn't. The book starts off with Boromir's death. I forgot to talk about it, to tell you that. Boromir dies on like page 2, so you get that portion at the end of Fellowship, which kind of like rounds out his character, which is nice. Whoop, there he is. Andy Serkis was robbed of an Oscar. He wasn't even nominated.
And he was robbed.
It was so dramatic.
He's the queen of melodrama.
He's trying to trick us. If we let him go, he'll throttle us in our sleep.
You know, for all his trepidation, Sam turns out to be right. I like this. This scene is from the extended edition because you get to see the dynamic between Gollum and Smeagol.
Always the great eye watching.
I think it's dissociative identity disorder. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's interesting to see his dynamic, like all of the things that are going on in his head. It's pretty much like himself and his conscience talking.
Less than a day ahead of us.
Come, Gimli! We're gaining on them!
I'm wasted on cross-country. We dwarves are natural sprinters. Very dangerous over short distances.
And it's true. They are very dangerous over short distances. If you've seen The Hobbit, you know what I'm talking about because Bomber just hauls ass when they're running away from Beorn.
Legolas, what do your elf eyes see?
The Uruks turn northeast! They're taking the hobbits to Isengard!
We're taking the hobbits to Isengard!
I'll leave a link to that below if you don't know what it is. I swear they used that exact same clip of the tree twice.
Take back the lands they stole from you. Burn every village!
You don't get any of this in the book either. I do like all of this stuff to be added into the film. It was a good choice to add all this into the film. Any of this stuff is always given through exposition, so you're always just told that this is happening, whereas in the film you're actually shown that this is happening. I like it better. I do like the setup as well, like all this goes into the setup of the men of Rohan, because in the book you don't meet any of those characters until Gimli, Aragorn, and Legolas meet them. So it's nice to get a little bit of their backstory before they're just like thrown in and you're like,
Who the hell is this?
Carl Urban.
Getting the Faramir clusters again?
You know, I really think Carl Urban should just wear that wig for the rest of his life. He can pull it off.
He pulls it off so well.
Hey look, it's the Snape knockoff. I always want to call him the Snape knockoff, and I think that's because I watched Harry Potter first before I watched this. But then I have to remember that Lord of the Rings was written before Harry Potter, so technically Snape is a Wormtongue knockoff. He's so gross. He is so gross. He is made out to be so disgusting that I love it.
You see much, Helm, son of ailment. Too much. You are banished forthwith from the kingdom of Rohan.
That's another thing. Éomer is never banished. That just dawned onto my head. In the book, he's never banished. He is always there. He's there the entire time. He's throughout the whole book. He's there at the Battle of Helm's Deep from the get-go. He's there the whole time. And he's not in the film because he has to serve a purpose of a character that they didn't cast. And you know, that's really sad. Any excuse to have Carl Urban on the screen longer is good with me, and it just actually makes me mad now that I know that he's in the book more.
Sorry.
What's making that noise? It's the trees. Do you remember the old forest? On the borders of Buckland? Folk used to say there was something in the water that made the trees grow tall. And come alive. Trees that could whisper. Talk to each other. Even move.
See, I think what they're talking about right here is the part in the book in Fellowship of the Ring where they go into that forest, and then that's when they get eaten by trees. I think that's kind of like an Easter egg drop to something that they didn't put in the first one.
Yeah! Why can't we have some meat? What about them? They're fresh.
See, in the book, Merry and Pippin are not in the middle of this. They're already at the trees. They actually go into the forest, sit by the water, and then they just watch all of this happen. Little bit of information if you did not know this. The majority of the Rohirrim, all of those horsemen, are actually women in men's makeup and hair and beards, because there were not enough men horse riders in New Zealand to be able to do this. So all of the women brought their horses and they got to dress up So New Zealand, not only do they have a woman prime minister, they have all the women horse masters. New Zealand for the win.
What business does an elf, a man, and a dwarf have in the Riddermark? Speak quickly.
Give me your name, Horsemaster, and I shall give you mine.
I would cut off your head, dwarf, if it stood but a little higher from the ground.
I see with this, between Éomer and Gimli, it's actually worse in the book because Éomer notices that they're wearing the elven cloaks and the leaves of Lorien, and they said that they just went through there, and he talks about how there's a witch lady that lives in that forest, and Gimli loses his mind. He starts threatening him over the fact that he just like dissed Galadriel, and he's like,
She is the most beautiful woman, and all this and he's like, you will respect her.
and his undying love for Galadriel makes me so happy. It makes my heart happy. Éomer is a little bit of a rough patch during this first part, but you warm up to him in the books, and even in this. But his role is a lot bigger in the books.
It's one of them belts. Fun fact, that is actually Viggo Mortensen's real scream because when he kicked that helmet, he broke his toe. I'm telling you, the many times that all of the actors got hurt is insane. Continuity error. Continuity error! He opens his arms, and then he comes back together. Look at him. He crawls, and then he cuts his wrists free. It's one of my favorite continuity errors ever. It's Treebeard.
Love it.
It's a shame that a lot of the Ent stuff got cut out. Like, in the extended edition, there's enough in there, but I don't know, it's just a little different. Treebeard is voiced by John Rhys Davies, who plays Gimli.
We can't eat hermit food. We must starve. The queen of melodrama.
You know, in the book, they really don't say what the winged creatures are. I can get confused about the winged creatures. For the longest time, I thought that the Nazgul were the dragons. They're not. They're the ringwraiths. I get that now, which I knew that beforehand, but that's beside the point. What? Fell beasts. Are they fell beasts? I think that's their name. I'll have to look it up. Yep, they're fell beasts.
Gandalf the Grey. That was my name.
Gandalf.
I am Gandalf the White.
See, he's all white, because with Saruman and his hair and his beard and stuff, it's starting to turn black, so it's kind of like seeing that as a way of him going closer to the dark side, falling towards evil, because it's like starting to seep out, whereas with Gandalf, he was gray, but he was turning white, and then in the whole thing is he's just completely white. He's so pure. Yeah, Merry and Pippin are in the forest for a couple of days. Between the time that they were taken and the time that Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas finally get to them after Helm's Deep, it's only been like 9 days, which is weird. When you're watching the films, all essence of time just like vanishes. But the whole Lord of the Rings, the whole thing only takes place 13 months.
Master says you're showing the way into Mordor. So good, Smeagol does. Master says so.
I did.
Yeah, this story would have been over really quickly if they had been able just to go through that gate.
Down!
Like, how the did you expect to get in there? I'm sorry, but the way the CGI is about Sam falling is so funny. It's like CGI in slow-mo. How in the world did they expect to get through the Black Gate without being seen? Granted, they may have those elven cloaks, but
I don't think that would have helped.
I doubt even these elfish cloaks will light us in there.
Even Sam agrees with me.
No! There's another way. More secret. A dark way.
Why haven't you spoken of this before?
You didn't ask.
Master did not ask.
I mean, me and Gollum were on the same page. He didn't ask. Don't let him touch you. Don't close your eyes. This is where you stab him. Be a shield maiden. Stab his ass. People always comment about the stuff with the flag, about how it's a little on the nose, but they didn't do it on purpose. I mean, they put it into the film on purpose, but that particular day just happened to be really, really, really windy, and so it all just happened out of like sheer dumb luck. And so why not? Why not put it in? They didn't do it on purpose.
You have no power here, Gandalf the Grey.
This transition, look at it, watch it. The CGI on his face is so good. We talk about old CGI not holding up, but man, some of it does.
This is but a taste of the terror that Saruman will unleash.
Again, like I've said, the films have ruined me, and I know that with fantasy with Tolkien's fantasy, the fantasy of that era, internal conflict wasn't really a big thing in fantasy. I don't know. I love the change. I love the fact that the characters actually have to struggle. He's not all like, yep, okay, I'm just gonna follow your advice. Because it would be the same thing as him following Grima's advice. Because if you didn't see that Gandalf he puts his hand on Theoden's throne and Theoden looks down at him and then looks at him, and it's kind of like reminiscent of the fact that Grima was doing the same thing. He was leaning over and trying to take control of Theoden, and you see that and you're like, Theoden doesn't want to do it again. He does not want to be under the power of someone else.
I know what it is you want of me, but I will not bring further death to my people. I will not risk open war.
I like the change. I like Theoden's stubbornness.
Look to my coming. At first light on the 5th day. At dawn, look to the east.
I'm also really upset that this line is not in the book. That's because Éomer is always there. I mean, Gandalf does leave to go get the rest of the Rohirrim, but he doesn't give them this little riddle. Always speaking in riddles. She's so great. It makes me mad that her character took a nosedive after she defeated the Witch King. The difference here is that they aren't abandoning the fortress. They actually, in the book, they actually sought out the army of Sauron like head on and then stopped at Helm's Deep. The music for Rohan is, it's so good. Everybody talks about John Williams being a genius, but whew! Howard Shore?
Really good. Wicked, Tracy, first. Not master. Yes, precious.
This is one of the best Gollum Smeagol sequences. You have the turn of the camera, and then you start moving back to back.
Master's my friend. You don't have any friends. Nobody likes you. Not listening. Not listening. What's it doing? Stupid, fat old.
What we need's a few good taters.
What's taters? Precious. What's taters?
Potatoes.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
It's in the book too, except he always says potatoes, and that made me so happy. This is the name of a chapter too, of herbs and stewed rabbits.
You must lead the people to Helm's Deep, and make haste.
I can fight.
No!
Again, not in the book. They make it to Helm's Deep in one piece, and there are no women and children there. Éowyn doesn't even go. She stays in Edoras and keeps everybody safe there. The only women and children that are at Helm's Deep are the ones that fled from the countryside, I guess, like the other portions of Rohan. I think that has to be like the major difference, is that they aren't fleeing Edoras for Helm's Deep. They are seeking out the army, and then they barricade themselves at Helm's Deep to meet them there. Stop.
Stop.
I know it's in the books.
But stop.
Okay, so this look ahead and the scout and everything, not in the books, obviously not. But everyone always comments on Legolas shield surfing in Helm's Deep. That is
nothing
compared to the laws of physics that he is about to break. Shield surfing is almost realistic compared to this. Like, what is this?
What is that?
You give Legolas so much crap for shield surfing, but that is more realistic than whatever the hell that was.
What is it?
Lord Aragorn. Where is he?
It doesn't matter.
He fell.
Yeah, he fell, but it doesn't matter. I mean, we know he's coming back, but you're barking up the wrong tree. I hate it. I hate this part in the films, and I hate it in the books, and it's honestly because I am ruined because of the films. Because I love Arwen so much. I love Arwen and Aragorn together so much that this part just bothers me. I hate it.
I hate it.
And don't even get me started on her and the men in Return of the King.
Tens of thousands.
But my lord, there is no such force.
Like, what the did you think he was doing? What did you think he was doing over there? I mean, you rode up, there were no trees, there were orcs everywhere. Why are you shocked? Why? Grima's like, what have I done? You've roped yourself up with an evil tyrant. Oh, tyrant's not really the word.
He's just evil.
Apparently Viggo Mortensen had spent so much time with this horse that he'd grown fond of him and bought him from his owner. Just another fun fact.
The time of the Elves is over. Do we leave Middle-earth to its fate? Do we let them stand alone?
Yes, you do. You do not send elves to Helm's Deep. That is not in the book. You do not send elves to Helm's Deep. That's what makes it even more interesting and tragic and amazing.
You don't send the elves.
Okay, so, Faramir is made out to be a dick in these films, which is like the biggest disservice because he's not. Like, you don't know whether or not you can trust him, and then you find out that he's Boromir's brother, and it's fine, and he's kind of nice, but he's a dick in this film.
Let the armies of Mordor know this. Never again will the land of my people fall into enemy hands!
It is really sad that all of this got put into the extended edition. When you watch the extended edition, you do get to see Boromir, like, at his prime, like, before you knew him with the ring. He's just such a good guy. He's a great leader. He would have been a great steward.
He's here.
He's your dick of a dad.
Oh, one moment of peace, can you not give us that?
No, because he's a dick. You know, I was told that he wasn't as bad in the book as he is in the film, but you know what? He's still a piece of shit dad.
They say you vanquished the enemy almost single-handed.
They exaggerate. The victory belongs to Faramir also.
But for Faramir, the city would still be standing. You let the enemy walk in and take it on a whim.
Yeah, you gotta blame it all on Faramir because Faramir's not worthy. He's second best. He's always second best. John Noble is such a great actor, but I just want to rip his face off because I hate him so much. I hate Denethor, I really do. He is less irritating in the book, but oh my god, I still don't like him. You just had a scene where you sympathized with him, and now he's a dick. Oh, you won't look at Gollum being, like, tortured right now? Like, no, stop. Oh, okay, now you're gonna look. Like, you're supposed to sympathize with Faramir. This makes him look like a dick, and I don't like it.
What did they steal?
Precious!
The ring of power within my grasp.
Like, if I'm not mistaken, in the book, I think Faramir, like, guesses that he has it, but he never acts on it. There's no, like, serious thought of taking them to Gondor and all this mess. Like, they thought about it, but then he lets them go. He does not whatsoever take him to Osgiliath. That is not in the book at all. And again, this is not in the book, but I understand why they put it there, because when I was reading all of this part, it really wasn't... I want to say it was made clear by some of the other writers who came to Helm's Deep, and they let them know, like, how many orcs were coming, whereas since they cut them out, they had to have somebody come and tell them how big the numbers were, and they gave it to Aragorn instead.
Great host, you say?
All Isengard is emptied.
How many?
10,000 strong at least.
10,000?
It is an army bred for a single purpose. To destroy the world of men.
Okay, so like the 10,000 in the book, it's not just Orc and Uruk-hai, it's also the corrupted men of the West, and then they have to defend Helm's Deep. The elves do not come. I kind of wish that the elves were not there, and I'm so glad that Arwen, warrior princess, is not there. She can pretend to fade into the west. This does not happen. They do not come. Why are there elves at Helm's Deep?
An alliance once existed between elves and men. We come to honor that allegiance.
You do not help. The majority of the elves have already left.
What's happening out there?
Shall I describe it to you? Or would you like me to find you a box?
As a short person myself, I really enjoy this joke.
So it begins.
Though this battle does play out almost exactly how it does in the book, except for the fact that, you know,
the elves aren't there.
Nicholas! Two already!
I'm on 17!
I'll have no pointy arrow scoring me! Ah!
in the book, it's funny, because I always thought that was cute, but in the book, they actually do have a contest as to how many orcs they can kill. It's like a running gag. It goes well with their dynamic together. I just love it.
Is this it? Is this all you can conjure, Saruman?
Why would you ask that question? It's like the one question you're not supposed to ask. Because when you ask that question, chariots of fire happens. That's Peter Jackson. Oh, here it is. Iconic. I don't care. It's still more realistic than him trying to get up on that horse.
This is not our war.
But you're part of this world!
This doesn't happen in the book. The trees are already going to go and help. They're already pissed off. They don't leave it to the rest of everybody else. Like, they don't leave it to everybody else. This is actually starting to make me mad. I didn't think it would make me mad, but it is making me mad.
Oh, come on, we can take them.
It's a long way.
Again, as a short person,
Toss me.
I really enjoy this joke.
I cannot jump the distance, you'll have to toss me.
Mainly because it's a callback to Fellowship.
Nobody tosses a dwarf.
I love it so much. And then they just like lay them out. I swear I think someone just said cowabunga.
Turn around! Turn around, take us south!
South? But that will lead you past Isengard.
Oh, God.
Yes.
At this point, it's just made me mad. Like, this is a great line.
If we go south, we can slip past Saruman unnoticed. The closer we are to danger, the further we are from harm. It's the last thing he'll expect.
I mean, it is some good logic, but they did not have to trick Treebeard into going south. Like, how would he not know that that was going on?
Many of these trees were my friends.
I will say that I like the fact that obviously through my ranting, I like the fact that he knew what was going on the entire time, rather than being a dumb tree. Only thing that can make this better is the fight that's about to happen.
They're moving.
Where are they going?
They have business with the orcs.
And see, that's true. That happens in the book. Half of Fangorn stays and fights, and the other half goes and helps out in Helm's Deep. That does happen. And you only know that because it's in the extended edition.
Yes!
Yes! Tree fights!
Tree fights! Love the Ents.
Yeah, kick him!
Kick him!
He's hitting orcs with other orcs. They're trying to chop him. Ents can feel a little bit of pain, but it's not gonna do much.
Break the dam! Release the river!
This is pretty much how it happens in the book.
Run, little hobbit!
Look at the tree!
I love the Ents.
I'm 87. We'll be alright. Like, it's as if Faramir has to see this to understand that the ring can't go to Gondor. He doesn't need that. The fact that his brother was corrupted by the ring and he didn't even have it in his possession is enough to tell for Faramir to know that he can't take the ring to Gondor. That's why this whole Osgiliath thing makes no sense.
No.
Final count 42.
42? Oh, that's not bad for a pointy-eared elvish princeling. I myself am sitting pretty on 43.
43.
He was already dead.
He was twitching.
He was twitching. Cause he's got my axe.
Then better than his mother's system.
Hi, Gollum! Where are you? Smeagol?
Do it.
I will say, the way that this ends, although it's completely different than it does in the book, they both end on cliffhangers. But this is a smaller cliffhanger than the other. It is.
Follow me.
Oh, I love that. I always love Smeagol's like, yeah, let's go, and then you turn and Gollum is the one that's leading them now. It's no longer Smeagol who's leading them. That, my friends, is the Two Towers. Now, like I said, 40% of the book is not adapted into this film. All of that is all in Return of the King in the film, which is, again, probably why it's 4 hours long. Even though only 40% of the film was adapted, I still think it's a good adaptation for what it did. There is a lot of stuff that they put in that obviously I've commented on. I can't think of it right now. But there's some things that they fleshed out. Oh, sorry. The Battle of Helm's Deep is a little, the more I watch it, I still love this film. This film is still my favorite, but the Battle of Helm's Deep is a little long. The build up to it is a little long. I like that they fleshed out things. Like they were able to show, like they were able to flesh out certain scenes that don't get that much screen time, like page time in the book. I like that. Honestly, that's about it. I've already commented on what makes me mad now that I've read the book. Yeah, honestly, I can't remember what it was. I'm sleepy. Treebeard put me to sleep, and I don't know why. Next on the Read and React will obviously be Return of the King. That is going to be long. That is going to be really long. I hope to film it sometime next week. We'll see how it goes. So, until next time, bye-bye!